technology. Hi! Welcome to Willow's Pillow Talk. I am Willow Schuyler. With me today is my furry friends. We got, other way, Toasty. We got Chinona. And I'm so sorry, Aria Crow with
Aria.
me today. Aria.
Aria.
All right.
Yep.
So today we are discussing Wild Prairie FurCon that is happening online next weekend. Chinona, tell us about it.
Okay, so this is was going to be our third year for Wild Prairie FurCon here in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Unfortunately, COVID has completely wiped out being able to have that con. So what we're doing is we're having WFPC.
Nice.
Yeah, that's how we're doing this. So it's just going to be a nice small online FurCon that anyone can attend. It's free to come and interact with. It is also free to take part in all of the events, and we are doing things like a charity auction online for Craig Street Cats once again. We have some adult content. We have dance happening Saturday at 1 p.m.
From about 1 to 5, and that dance will be streamed live from 2 DJs in Great Britain.
Nice. Wow.
Yeah, so we're gonna have a lot of fun, and anyone that wants to donate or do anything like that, like if they want to donate prizes for the charity auction, or just donate directly and say, hey, this is to go to Craig Street Cats, they are welcome to do that by donating at PayPal at wildprairiefurcon.ca.
Beautiful. Toasty, you did our security last year at Wild Prairie Furs, at the Wild Prairie FurCon. That was fun. And
it was, yeah.
one of my favorite things was seeing Toasty in the maid outfit for our maid cafe.
Maid cafe, yeah. That was a fastball because the person, Mita, who originally does it, couldn't do it, and so she called me up and said, hey, you've got charisma, you've got style, and I was like, I want to see what I look like in an apron. So, of course, why not? So, brought my own little apron and served up some snacks, some tea, some coffee, and little dainties. And people would tip us for Craig Street Cats. It was really fun.
Yeah, because it's important to remember, folks, that some of the people watching this broadcast a bit later might be from the Rainbow After the Storm group in Britain. So a lot of these things they might not know exactly what the reference are, but yeah, Toasty, that's pretty much what it is, right? Is people dress up in little maid costumes and they take donations for charity.
And it's especially fun because a lot of the people, usually the event organizer won't be in a suit because you want to have someone who has be able to see things and handle things, but one of the suitors that was there, I think it was Monstro, big plushy paws, and I mean, there's nothing more nerve-wracking than placing a tiny little teacup into these giant fluffy paws because you don't know which way it's gonna go. But Monstro did an amazing job somehow, and we made I think we made over $70 in tips, and I mean it was
$90 from that.
$90, that's right.
Wow!
And I remember everything.
Yeah, and I actually still have, because we put out poster boards and crayons so people can actually do drawings and stuff, and I held on to some of them.
Oh, wow.
So in other words, we should auction those off for next year.
I was thinking that actually.
Yeah.
I actually have one of my favorite suitors did some art, and I actually have her art pinned on my wall for the time being while I try to figure out how to put it together into a collage or something. So yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not a bad idea because that's what KeyCon does. Is they do the art jam where all the artists get together and they do stuff, and then at the Sunday afternoon art auction, they auction that off for charity.
Exactly,
and it works.
Yeah, and I mean, you're sitting down having tea and dainties with your furry friends. You're drawing, you're just.
Yeah.
And whatever happens. So I went up to the artist like, hey, do you mind if I have that? They're like, what are you going to do with it? I'm like, I'm just going to take it home. Don't worry about it. And they're like, okay. So they've been sitting in storage in a protective case for over almost a year now. And looking to do something with them.
Well, hopefully we can figure out what to do with that for sure.
Yeah.
Aria, I hope I'm saying that right. I'm sorry.
You are saying it right.
You were running the con ops all pretty much all weekend last year.
Actually, no. It was only an hour and 45 minutes on Saturday night, but it was one heck of an experience. And actually, it was a lot of fun. People were wonderful. The Maid Cafe people, actually, one of them came up. I think it was John who came up. I didn't recognize because, of course, in the suit. And he said, "Are you stuck in ops?" And I said, "Yeah, I kind of am." And he actually brought me up my own cup of tea and dainties.
Oh, that's nice.
Isn't that sweet? So yeah. So no, people at Wild Prairie FurCon, in my experience, they look after each other. So yeah. So I ran up. Well, I ran ops for a bit, and that was actually a lot of fun. It was my first time doing it, so it was really valuable experience. This year I'm running. Shanona, can you confirm it's 2 panels, right?
Yes, you are definitely doing 2 panels at the online con.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, if you want to throw a third one at us, we'll take it.
I really would like to do one on spirituality and furry fandom.
Oh,
because I think that's a really fascinating concept. So maybe if you can slot me in somewhere, that'd be great. Because I think the Randy Rainbow watch party is running on the Facebook WWWPFCon Facebook group, and that'll be running Friday night starting at 9. We're still trying to decide. I think it'll be on Zoom for the watching of the Fandom, a furry documentary, and that'll be Sunday at 3 p.m. So yeah, we got some stuff happening. We got stuff happening.
Are there slots available still for panels, or is everything still full?
For panels, we have shut down artist applications for our online dealers den. That is shut down.
Okay.
Our panels, you have basically until Sunday this weekend. You can put one in. We do have some room left. People's preferred time slots are probably gone because those went to the first bunch that went in, obviously. And we are trying not to overlap any panels at all. That way everyone gets a full share of everyone.
Ooh,
exactly. And I know the 2 British DJs are running the special Wild Prairie FurCon Disco from Great Britain from 1 p.m. on Saturday until about 5 p.m. on Saturday. So
okay.
Yeah, so that slot. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm free that weekend. I just happen to have that weekend off. So, I mean, if you want, I can run a panel or 2.
What would you do?
Maybe try to get some of my friends. We can have a discussion about which Disney film represents the furry fandom a little bit better. I don't know.
That could be entertaining.
Robin Hood versus Zootopia.
I mean, the 90s was all full of furry fun. So, even with all the cartoons that came out around the 90s, we had Biker Mice from Mars. There was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Come on. If you didn't realize that you were a furry then, as a kid, you definitely know as an adult now that
you're still confused.
Exactly. I mean, and all the Disney films. I mean, Robin Hood, is a classic that a lot of people talk about, right? As being their first kind of gateway to furry fandom, right?
Exactly. And I mean, thinking about it now, it's it's so obvious my favorite character was Beast, so, can't get any more furry than that.
Literally turns into man, yeah.
I did have one quick thing, if you don't mind.
By all means.
Meowlin? Do you prefer Meowlin or Willow right now?
You can call me Willow if you feel free. Meowlin, I mean...
you got the head. There she is.
I'm poking her in the eye.
I did want to ask, because again, some folks watching this, they may not at all be familiar. How would you describe furry fandom?
How would I describe furry fandom? Well,
actually, I'll direct it, if you don't mind, I'll direct it to Chinona first because she's con chair. And then maybe we can do a rotation.
What is furry? what kind of question is that? That's
the kind of question I asked going into this.
okay. So, furry fandom is like a really big spread, depending on the person. Like, there's no set. This is the furry fandom, and this is only what the furry fandom is. The furry fandom can be everything from, just enjoying, like the Disney, anthropomorphic animal movies and liking art and stuff like that, all the way to like, I am now like a fursuit maker, and I have 16 fursuits and a fursona, and I go out to every con that I can get to. Like, all of those, anything in between there, and I mean, for the most part, even beyond them, is, if it's furry to you, it's the furry fandom. And it doesn't discriminate against, financial levels. It doesn't discriminate against your gender, your profession, your sexuality, anything like that. That's really not part of the fandom. So a lot of people find they can open up and just be friends with everyone in it, and it's quite welcoming.
Yeah, I mean, last year when I was in ops doing some registration stuff, I ended up talking to a research scientist who was a member of the furry fandom, and that was quite an interesting like half-hour conversation. I mean, I'm an artist personally. I know Toasty. You're in. Yeah, hi, Toasty. I mean, yeah. You're in a whole different line of work, and so are you, Willow. I mean, what really impressed me was just the wide range of people.
Yeah.
And the wide range of ages too. I mean, I was seeing people there who were like, I think the youngest individual I saw might have been like 7 or 8.
I think we had a 6-year-old actually.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just I went to the very first Wild Prairie Fur Con as a non-furry, furry friendly, just to support it. And everybody was so sweet. They were just so nice and so welcoming. They totally won me over. Now I've got my little Aria Crow badge, so I'm kind of, you said, like, the spectrum of furry, right? And I'm kind of, at the beginning of the spectrum of furry, kind of gradually working this way.
She's already got a tail in here. She's well into it.
Well, I may have a tail. We'll have to talk about that. But yeah. Oh, I do. You're right. I got the little tiny foxtail that I got from volunteering last year, and I also have a pair of fox ears. And yeah, so I have a couple of oh my God, I'm further along the spectrum than I thought.
Well, I think when you go to conventions and you see Chinona's.
Oh my goodness.
Is Chinona sitting there in the dealer's den? You're bound to buy something from her, I'm sure.
I mean, technically, I haven't actually, the year one, I had, what was left of my stock from, the con before in Edmonton, because I go to Edmonton every year for Furry, which is actually where the idea for Wild Prairie Fur Con came from. Thank you, Thalanor and crew out there. But legit, I don't think Aria has actually ever seen a full Lazy Leopard table spread, because it is a monster of a table. I normally, the first year, I think I had something like 7 tails for Wild Prairie Fur Con, where my normal spread is 150 tails.
Wow.
So,
yeah. And the joke that people were telling me at the last Wild Prairie Fur Con was, oh yeah, that tiny little foxtail you have that has a little, clip that it attaches to the back of your t-shirt, that's the gateway drug.
Yeah.
Your next step is $100 tail.
I mean,
and then you're gonna get a headpiece, and just go from there.
Technically, the Raven tail is a $150 piece, so yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh wow!
Mm-hmm.
And there's the
thing is,
tail.
there's that tail. I love that tail.
That's my first tail. It was a gift from a U.S. Marine who was stationed in Okinawa, Japan, and he wanted me to have fursuit parts and wanted me to, quote unquote, turn into a hardcore furry. So he had it made by Frozen Phoenix in Arizona, and yeah, I also got the paws with the little claws on them. That was also
Yep.
Oh,
It
nice.
Well, that's something important, I think, for people who are not furries to know, is that furry is really a worldwide network of people.
Oh, very much.
I
so.
mean, people in North America are commissioning suits from Japan, right? And parts from all over the world. I mean, it's and Chinona, for the raven tail, because a crow tail and a raven tail are two different things. I'd probably actually get you to custom make me a crow tail, because they're very different shapes.
One is pointy, one is.
The pointy one is the raven. The rounded one is the crow.
I know.
Yeah. So, but you have a So well, we'll talk.
Yeah, we'll talk.
Yeah, we'll talk. Oh, here we go, the gateway drug, right? And I move another big step along the furry spectrum.
Another inch.
Exactly. Yeah. So
She's just freaking taking long jumps.
Tell me about your persona, Toasty. When did you start doing the whole fursuiting and?
Well, I mean, so like we were talking about the whole furry spectrum, you got people that kind of ease into it and they take a few years, figure out the fandom, then maybe they'll get a fursuit, because I mean they are expensive. You don't need a fursuit to be a furry. It's just really cool to have one, because I mean it's cool. You're literally cosplaying an animal, your favorite animal. But anyways, so I think I started off with being a fan of My Little Pony, of course, and then I kind of moved away from that for my own personal reasons. And I met a friend on Facebook who introduced me to Telegram, and actually Telegram was my first step into the furry community. And it was like, so I got added to a few just random chats, and then I found a local chat, and shortly after I kind of just, started thinking about what kind of persona would I have? What would I do? And I saw I love snow leopards. Like, I've always loved jungle cats, big tails, they're derpy, they're fluffy. They're like, if my screen is a pie graph, they're, this is derpy and this is fluffy here on the bottom. They're like, if I can do this way over here, they're derpy and fluffy. So, and I thought, okay, cool. And I thought, okay, well, I lived in Manitoba now. So it's like, okay, cool. I'm posted to Manitoba. I got posted here in 2015. I was like, and I hate snow. Ever since I got to Manitoba, I hate snow. This province has ruined snow for me. So I said, what would be a good one? So I went with kind of like with my job in the military, and I'm out in the field. Usually we're in a heated or cooled tent because we're computer techs. And I love the heat when it's cold out. So I said, well, Toasty, that sounds pretty awesome. And then, so I got them made, have like little hearts to signify my birthday on Valentine's Day, a little chevron on his tail to signify my military service. And I just kind of ran with it, and I found out that there was a local fursuit maker here. So I just jumped on it. I'm like, take some money. I just want to get a fursuit. I want to see what it's all about. And I thought it was pretty cool. So yeah, Toasty is a snow leopard, and a joke came along with, well, Toasty. I'm not a millennial, but I am a millennial. They're like avocado toast.
You are a millennial.
Known as Toasty the avocado snap. And for those that don't know what a snap is, it's a snow leopard. It's just a short form for snow leopard.
Yeah.
It kind of stuck, and people like every time on Facebook are tagging me in snow leopard memes, avocado, everything. Like, I can't go a day without being tagged in something avocado. Like when Chinona gets a hold of me and goes, "Oh my God, Toasty, you got to see this." And actually, Chinona was my first. I think I actually commissioned you first because you commissioned me. No, I got my suit commissioned, and then someone came up with the avocado idea, and I said, well, I want to commission an avocado. And so someone said, well, there's this person that runs a business called Lazy Leopard. And I'm like, okay. So I didn't know Kat at this point. And I'm like, all right. So I got a hold of her, and I'm like, yeah, I want to make this thing. I'd never had something handmade from another province come to me. So I was a little skeptical, as most people are when they first do something.
I'm in Manitoba!
So I was like, okay, you're 2 hours away. But anyways, so yeah, I got an avocado prop made. And at the first con, I almost took out a chandelier with it because I couldn't see.
I mean, and it's awesome, and it had a squeaker in it, and I don't think
I think it doesn't work anymore because I was chewing on it.
You chewed on it.
Uh-oh.
Well, him and other people.
Everyone just wants a piece of my avocado. I don't know, man.
I mean, I also tattooed an avocado on him too.
Oh
eventually.
yeah, she also tattooed an avocado. On me.
Nice.
So I mean, it's all about the
I think-
avocados.
So I mean, yeah. So the degree that you can, in a sense, go down the rabbit hole is quite deep.
Oh.
Very
Yeah.
I don't think is there a bottom of this rabbit hole really?
I mean, look at you. You're a con
I knew.
chair for-
What do I know?
For a con.
Yeah,
like,
I'm-
furry con.
Yeah,
Like-
I joined the fandom in like 2012, and by 2017 it was basically I'm a con chair now.
I mean, then you got people who, you know, it's like some of our locals in our Telegram chat. There's like one or two people that I know that haven't had a fursona for the longest time. They're still a furry. They still come to the meets. They don't own any fursuit parts. They're just, I'm a furry. Well, what's your furry name? I don't have one. Just call me Bob, or just call me Melissa, or so, you know. And
or I
you're
just like the art. And that's the big thing
exactly.
is they literally go and they just appreciate the art. They don't even necessarily buy it. They just enjoy looking at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I jumped into a suit the first second I had, but you know, other people not so much, because I wanted, like, I kept hearing about furries being like, oh yeah, your fursona is like your persona, and then I kind of clicked. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. And you know, it's just really cool to kind of live as I don't know how to say it. It's like a second skin. You know, when I'm me, I'm me. I do my military stuff. I do whatever I do. When I'm in Toasty, I don't care about bills. I don't worry about life. There's no responsibilities. You're just, well, other than not getting heat stroke, 2000.
Which he doesn't know how to not do first time.
Yeah, I got heat stroke and or heat exhaustion. My first time shooting.
We got him out of the suit before he got heat stroke at the con.
It wasn't even a full suit. It was just the head.
Wow.
It was so hot in Winnipeg. It was the day in 2018 we had, it was like 42 degrees in Winnipeg.
Yes.
And that actually plays into what you said, Balumi. You were saying that some furry communities, some of the most caring people. I mean, I woke up, I was almost nude. I was in my underwear and I freaked out for a second, and people are like, hey, it's okay. You were overheated. We took off your shirt, your pants. We dabbed you down with cool water. We gave you water. We fed you bread. And they looked after me. And they actually had someone with me the whole night to make sure that I was good to go. They had someone on standby to call emergency if they needed to. And that was one of the things that kind of stuck with me. And I always think about that moment, because it's like people are like, oh, you know, the people that kind of constantly talk badly about the furry community. It's like, yeah, but, you know, a normal person on the street would see me laying on the ground. They may or may not stop. But I dropped from heat exhaustion and I had like 5-6 people by my side. And then I got teased relentlessly for a couple of weeks because, I mean, yeah, I did a stupid thing. So
still get
sorry for dragging
well,
I
mean, the furry community also, I was very surprised to learn. I think it was, how much did the North American furry community raise for animal charities last year? Something like 20 million?
I don't
That's
know
a
that.
lot.
Give me a second.
That's yeah, look it up. That was the number that was quoted during the CTV interview for the Wild Prairie Fur Con in 2018.
Well,
I believe it was 20 million.
Oh, I think it's what they've raised so far since furry convention started actually using charities and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the point is, furries give a lot of money to charity.
Well, they gave even more money to people willing to draw art of their personas. So, like,
yeah, it's very true. Yeah. I mean, this did not come cheap. Onyx Angel, by the way, folks, wonderful artist in Brandon, highly recommended. But yeah, I mean, it's the furry community. Another big aspect of the furry community that I really enjoy is the dance aspect.
So
the dance competitions, the floor.
The only number I can actually find for that was in 2006. The total raised for animal charities in 2006 in North America was $50,000 in that year alone.
Which is pretty darn good.
A truck.
Wow.
That's a brand new truck.
Yeah, I mean, it's not surprising that furries are big supporters of animal charities. I mean, Shanona, the auction that the Wild Prairie Fur Con online version is hosting next weekend is going to be for Craig Street cats. Is that correct?
Yes, it's going to be for Craig Street Cats, which is a wonderful not-for-profit organization here in Winnipeg. And what they do is they work with the wild street cats of Winnipeg. They operate a spay and neuter program, and then they
basically catch and release.
Yeah,
it's a catch and release.
It's a catch and release because they found that a spayed or neutered animal keeps other cats from coming into that area, and it also keeps them from reproducing. They also operate, obviously, an adoption center for the ones that they can adopt. They have a trinket shop. They have like pet food and stuff like that you can do, and you can also just donate directly. They've got a bunch of different programs for the different cats here in Winnipeg.
Yep, and at least one of the items that is going to be on auction this weekend, I'm going to go really, really close here so you can see how beautiful this badge is a full body badge from Onyx Angel, the artist who did this badge of mine. So that'll be one of the, I believe, Chinona, you said that'll be one of the items up for auction this weekend.
Yes, we are going to have 3 badges from Onyx available, thanks to Aria. We're going to have a head, a waist up, and a full body.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So all
exactly.
3, and they're going to be separate so that, people have a shot at like them, even if they can't like afford like the highest one. They can possibly get. Hello, you're having fun with your little. And
I just have to really quickly say that I've worked with different artists in the past, and some of them have been very difficult. Onyx is amazing in terms of making sure that you, the client, are absolutely satisfied. So if you get one of her badges, you are getting top-notch service.
Awesome.
So anyway, buy a badge. Support Craig Street Cats.
Where are we on this list? Holy crap.
We're everywhere.
All right. No. Chinona, want to describe the different, well, we kind of delved into the different types of suits. Like there's the partial, okay, so you can.
I got this. So when people are starting on like their fursuit journey, since the furry journey is like a completely different thing, I swear to goodness, there's definitely some starting steps. Like there's the really light version where most people will just have like a set of ears or a singular tail, or you can have both, and that's like the really light version of your fursuit journey. There's also, you can have that, and then you can add like paws for your hands and your feet to that, and then after that, the next stage really is you get yourself a head. And there's all sorts of different types of heads. Like there's your own eye heads, there's the toony ones, there's the realistic ones. There are the cheap ones from Spirit Halloween that people get as like a good starter. Like they can't afford the $500 head, get a $30 one from there. Because I mean, some of those aren't bad.
No, they're not.
I mean, most people it's a good start to be like, can I actually do this? And then after that, you can start getting like sleeves and like upper body so that it cuts off at your bust or your whole body, or you can get like legs. It's ridiculous.
If you're doing a bird character, you can get arm pieces that have like fabric, like feathers that come off them for wings.
Those are your sleeves. It depends on the type of animal you're getting on how detailed your sleeves are. A lot of people just get the basic sleeves, but obviously if you're a bird character, you're going to, that's at that point you've basically got your partial, because you've got like the biggest detail there is your wings. And then there's plantigrade and digigrade suits, and plantigrade is where you have like the human legs. Digigrade is where you have the more animalistic legs with the heavier thighs and like little hawks on the back of your calves. And then there is quad suits, which we don't really have a lot of here. We have, I think, one quad suit right now in all of Winnipeg.
Awesome. Oh, yeah.
Wow. And that is Plushy Dav, and he dresses up like a little plushy dragon, and he walks around on his hands and knees because he's really small, and he uses his feet to wag his tail, and it's super cute, and people get keep getting freaked out because they think we have an animatronic at our Wild Prairie FurCon table because he's like laying there going, and then they touch him and he's like, huh? And they're like, oh my god.
It's a conversation starter amongst a lot of people, even hotel guests. They're like, "What the heck?" It's like, yeah, there's a guy in there. Just don't sit on him.
Oh my god,
a dog in there. I'm like, no, we did not put a dog.
No, it's a person.
We help dogs, not torture them. That's bad. No.
But the great thing about the Radisson Hotel is that they allow dogs.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
They're also
they had like so many different types of people around, and that was awesome. Sorry, I got a little carried away.
No. I mean, they're also used to having other conventions of a similar bent in their space, so they don't tend to get freaked out very easily.
Yeah.
My cat's just destroyed my backdrop.
Your backdrop?
So if you guys see clutter in the background, I apologize. I'm a bit of a slob.
Willow? Look back there!
I think
it's an artist studio.
I think it's a nerd thing, quite honestly. I don't know much nerds that are actually clean.
Well, it's all clean. It's all clean back there. It's just we have paperwork and we've been cleaning out boxes, so there's like stuff stuffed everywhere as we're trying to sort things out. Normally, it's a lot more orderly than this. But yeah, the Radisson Hotel is excellent in terms of hosting the convention. Their hotel representative is very used to KeyCon, so they are extremely open to what Wild Prairie FurCon is doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So like I met you guys through C4. I just kept watching you guys walk by with all these elaborate suits, and I'm just like, I must know everything about these people. So I appreciate Parmley Chinona for letting me know, for bringing me into the whole world of the furries. They've definitely had we definitely had a bad rap over the years. The CSI episode pretty much was, the top. What kind of brought it out to the media about?
Yeah, the CSI episode was. What's that?
What's that? Someone's got feedback. I think it might be you, Willow.
Oh, I think we're good now.
I think we're good now, yeah.
We're going to blame Toasty? Okay. No worries. So CSI was really a mess, simply because originally it had furries on it, giving them like, okay, this is what a furry thing is. This is a furry con. And like the producers just completely ignored that because let's face it, normal doesn't sell well. Sex is what sells. So we're going to like make this a complete gong show of sex and, everything that is bad. In literally every other fandom has this too. It's just they decided we're going to do it to the furries. And it was problematic because like and that was like 15 years ago now minimum that came out, and it's still a major thing. Like it was like, but what about the CSI episode? And then after that, it was like 1,000 Ways to Die did some stupid special, and it's like, oh my goodness, no, like that. There were adult cons for furries, but that's no different than any other fandom. There's always adult.
Yeah, every fandom has some sort of kink.
Yeah, science fiction and fantasy fandom, same thing.
Yeah, like,
same thing.
Do you really think there isn't smut of, like, the X-Files, Mulder and Scully out there? I have seen some nasty stuff from that, and that was purely by accident. I'm like, oh no, I'm going to be grounded because, this popped up while I was looking for, like, I think it was like music chords for guitar when I was a kid, and
Oh
it's
my
on my
God.
home computer, and my mom's sitting beside me, and it's like,
Oh.
But then you got
Oh, yeah.
shows like
I mean,
for those that watch like Lucifer on Netflix,
hmm.
they actually did a episode where the Detective Decker, went undercover as a furry at a convention to arrest someone, and they actually had one of the characters on the show, like one of the main characters, the lab assistant, Ella, I think it is. I binge watch it, but I can't remember the names. And they're
Ella.
like, "Oh, aren't those people that do like weird sex things and everything?" She goes, "Actually, no." And she starts going on, and I'm like, this is actually awesome. This counteracts the CSI thing. And they talked about like, oh yeah, I was mad because they stole my fursona and they made a suit. And I'm like, oh my God, this is like real life furry stuff. Like someone stole my suit, but just don't kill them.
Like the episode had like parents there with their kids.
Yeah.
And like it had an accurate representation of like the dealer's den, what a dealer's den would look like. It was awesome
great
episode, and I absolutely loved it.
I'm gonna have to check it out, because this sounds
100%.
really, really good.
It's a great show.
I'm gonna have to go down that rabbit hole of watching Lucifer.
Yeah. Or at least one episode of Lucifer.
It's Tom Ellis.
Yeah.
It's Tom Ellis.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I mean, there's one of the things I'll be doing on the Wild Prairie FurCon virtual weekend coming up is I'll be running hopefully on Zoom, a live stream of The Fandom, a furry documentary. And that's going to talk a little bit in there. It is going to be mature content warning, but it is going to talk a little bit in there about, where did this whole, sex and furries things come from, and that kind of thing. Because it is still a tin can on the tail of the fandom, pardon the pun, rattling along behind it.
I mean, like we said, like every fandom has their like kind of kink, but it, the fact that you guys, the Wild Prairie Furs, have been trying very hard to counteract the image that the media has put forth on the furry community, with your charity work and showcasing what you guys actually do is phenomenal. And I'm trying very hard to, between work, even though I say that I don't have a life outside of work, I've been trying very hard to make time for the furry community by coming to the fur meets. And so when's the next fur meet?
Unfortunately, at this point, the only reason we don't have any booked right now is because it's not safe to like advertise like a fur meet, because when we advertise a fur meet, we can get up to 50 people, and if we're going someplace, there is no place we can go indoors that can have 50 people. So right now, fur meets really are shut down across the province. I know Brandon and the Westman Furs have hard shut down. Onyx Angel is in charge of that, and her and I both agreed that this needs to be hard shut down. That's why Wild Prairie FurCon is canceled. I believe our other fur camp, it's Fur Camp Con. I don't know if it's still going on. I do know they were thinking about canceling it finally, because I think it was just put to a vote that it might be safer to do so, even though they're not happening until September. Just because safety reasons. No place wants to be known, and no fur group really wants to be known as Plague Con or the Plague Group. It's a very important thing. We like to take care of our community. Our community doesn't necessarily have to mean just animals. We take care of each other. Like the 7-Eleven down my street is so furry friendly, it's ridiculous, because I've had so many fur meets at my house that they will literally we're the only group that can do this, walk in full fur costume and buy stuff. They don't care. Nope. The furries aren't going to steal anything. In fact, they kind of like it, because like maybe one of them will knock a display down, and then they'll feel bad and buy everything that was on the display. Because that's what furries do.
We don't have pockets.
We don't have pockets.
Yeah, exactly.
But right now, like the only get-togethers that are happening are like friends that happen to be furry are getting together for like, okay, we're gonna hang out and have like a movie at, you know, so and so's house, and there's like 2 or 3 people, but there's no true meets going on right now because
like
of
coffee
COVID.
meets. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's the same pretty much in all aspects of all fandoms right now, is things are just, you know, yeah, they're down. What was I? Somebody else keep going because I had a point and now it's, you know.
I'm sorry. I destroyed the point. I do that.
So the charity works that we do, Craig Street Cats. Toasty, you do a lot of stuff with the Canadian military.
Yeah.
How does, like, I know all these questions. First of all, I know you work with a lot of families, and how's the response to Toasty with the military families?
So originally, how it all started was there was an event scheduled to go on, and I reached out to the staff, the civilian staff, the D&D staff that take care of recreation and stuff on base. And I said, you know, hey, how would you feel about having a mascot? And I called myself a mascot at first because they knew that, you know, I was a furry and stuff. But I said, how would you feel? And I showed them a picture of my suit. I said, you know, I'd just show up, make the kids smile. And my goal was to just, you know, bring smiles to a lot of kids. Because, I mean, myself being a soldier, I don't have any kids. I've never deployed. But you see so many kids where their parents deploy. They're sad. They miss dad. They miss mom. You know, in the case maybe both parents are deployed, they miss mom and dad. So I kind of put myself out there. And the first time I went out, I was not expecting the response that I got. I mean, military, we're old school. We don't believe in military members doing this kind of stuff in their off time. You know, back in the day, that'd be seen as weird. You'd get, you know, you wouldn't get the greatest response, but it was actually really nice. They saw what I was trying to do, and they started inviting me back to events. And then that actually led to me representing the 3rd Canadian Division Canadian Army, the 3rd Canadian Division, as Juno, the mascot, the polar bear. And Juno, as you know, was the name of one of the beaches from D-Day, if I recall correctly.
Yes.
Sorry. I'm really nervous right now, so don't quote me on everything, but I got
okay.
My boss came in to me and he goes,
You're doing great.
you know, hey, Corporal so-and-so, get over to the base RSM's office immediately. And I'm like, uh-oh, like, what did I do? So I got in my truck, I zipped over to the headquarters building, and I came to attention at his door, half expecting him to just be like, you're blah, 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 blah. Like, oh, I can't believe you're doing this, and how could you do this? This is bad, and everything. And I'm like, okay, so I'm freaking out. He goes, we have an opportunity. And I'm like, okay. He goes, how would you like to be the mascot for 3rd Canadian Division? I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, we want you to do that. I'm like, he's like, do you know what to do? I'm like, yeah, well, I know what you do in your spare time. He says, go and see the, so he tells me, he says, go see the public affairs officer. Because the public affairs officer is crucial when it comes to stuff like this. Because, you know, when you go to events and stuff, you got to have someone there to kind of make sure the right questions are being asked. And no one's kind of, like, if you were to ask me questions about tanks, I wouldn't be able to answer because I've never worked up at the tank. If you ask me questions about computers, I could answer that. That's what I deal with, you know, stay in your lanes. So that led to me actually being Juno for the Tim Hortons Briar. That happened in Brandon a couple years ago, and it was the experience of a lifetime. And I've just been, whenever there's been an event on the base, I show up as Toasty, kids come running up to me. I mean, you still have the occasional parent that's a little iffy and kids cry because they see this giant, like, snow leopard and they're like, oh my God, what's going on here? But the response has been great. And I mean, I've had people, an infantry warrant. So the infantry, the guys that go out and do the dirty work, not the dirty work, that's a bad way of putting it, but they're the guys in charge of keeping us safe. They're the ones that pull the trigger. These are hard guys. And this warrant, so he's up there in rank. He comes up to me and he goes, hey. And I'm like, oh, hey, Warrant, how's it going? He goes, are you that giant cat? What's his name? I don't know his name. I'm like, Toasty. He goes, oh, whatever it is. Could you come do my kid's birthday party? I'm like, what? And I'm like, sure. He goes, well, how much do you want? I said, make a donation to the Snow Leopard Trust, which is the foundation that I chose to do my volunteer work for because I like snow leopards. So he made I think $100 donation or something like that. He got a hold of me, he says, I made a donation. I showed up for a couple of hours, and I was sweating myself just completely dry, and it was worth it. The kids loved it. And I mean, you know, what's so hard about taking a few hours of my time to just go out and make people smile? So unfortunately, with COVID, I haven't done much on base, but I have gone out in my suit in front of people's houses with little signs for happy birthday, and I just do it out of the goodness of my heart.
Oh, that's cute.
And
That's
you know
adorable.
what? It's like it's great because people love that. The kids, they love it. Now, not all furries like to perform for kids. I can get that because their fingers are dirty and stuff. And they don't want their fursuits to get dirty. But for me, it's like, you know what? I'm known in the community for what I do with the military. I want to be known outside of the military for doing something nice. And it's like, you know, it's led to some pretty sweet gigs. And someone made the joke when I became Juno, I'm professionally trained, government sanctioned furry, because I was essentially being paid by the government to fursuit as their mascot at like the Briar at the winter fair. And it's like, dude, you're a professional furry. You're government sanctioned. You're making $70,000 a year to fursuit. Like, what the hell? How do I do this? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I just showed up and things happened. But yeah,
it was meant to be.
Yeah, 100%. It's a great little thing. And I mean, like I said, you'll still have some people that are like, you know, not really my thing. And it's like, you know what, man, you're not hurting my feelings. I'm in the military.
No.
I've got thick skin. Yeah. You could come up to me and tell me, you know what, I don't agree with it. Good for you. I don't care. It's your opinion. Just like my opinion is I like it. You don't have to agree. So I just, because I was interviewed by the base newspaper, and I said the same thing in there. I said, I'm just a dude that likes to dress up as a cat and make people smile, and I don't really care what people think. So yeah.
I remember the point I did remember. The point I was going to make was the very first Wild Prairie FurCon I came to, which was the first one back in 2018. I got into a number of conversations with people because, of course, people saw I was new and were like, hey, you know, who are you? You know, what do you like? And so I was asking them some questions. And, you know, one of the questions I asked was, why? Right? You know, why are you dressing up in the paws and the head? You know, why are you doing this? I'm genuinely, not to be insulting, I'm really curious. And quite a number of them made a very interesting reply. They said that, to paraphrase generally, you know, in my normal life, I have social anxiety. I have depression. I do not feel free to express myself as the gender that I feel I am inside. But here, with the fursuits, or just with like my little rainbow tag with my fursona on the end, I can be who I feel I really am. And it frees me. And that really struck me, is that the furry community is freeing people. It's giving them permission, as long as they're not hurting anybody else, to be who they really are. And I think that's just an amazing thing. You're all nodding, so I guess you're agreeing.
If I can add on to that really quickly, saying that, like, with the second skin and everything, I mean, I was also interviewed, I can't remember which one it was. I think it was actually the 2018 Wild Prairie. And it said the same thing. It's like, during the day I wear a uniform. I have a lot of responsibilities, you know, having 10 years in the Canadian Army full time. I'm not a reservist. I'm every single day. I'm on call 24/7. And when I was back posted with the infantry unit and everything, there was a lot of stress, like a lot of stress. And it's immeasurable. Like, I get everyone has their own stress, but like when you're dealing with, you know, crazy stuff that I deal with, it's like you get into your suit, you don't think about it. Like, I don't think about the military when I'm at the con. Like, I ran a panel last year about rations. I wanted people to try rations. Chinona tried some of the rations.
I still have the Indian.
Yeah. So I called in a favor from one of the guys from one of the things. I said, I want to do this. But anyways, the stress just melts away, and it's great. And then people find out too with the different people from different backgrounds. It's like, you got doctors, you got researchers, you got a guy in the military. I mean, it's crazy. And it's a great escape from the anxiety and such. Like when I first went to my first fur meet was in Portage La Prairie, and there was a lot of people there, and I ended up having an anxiety attack that lasted about an hour. And I walked outside. I said I need some space, but a couple of people noticed that I was in distress. They came after me and made sure I was okay. So, you know, I was a little anxious, and then going to the fur con, I was super anxious because I'm like, oh my God. And I put the head on and I just started running around annoying people because it's like, it's toasty. Sorry.
Yep, exactly. You know, and it's for me, the entry point was a little bit different. At the very first Wild Prairie Fur Con, where I went there like not knowing anybody really, at least not as far as I knew, and ended up meeting a few people I knew through KeyCon. I got one of the badge makers there to do a crow badge for me, and because of my religious beliefs, crows are very significant to me. So the artist made the badge for me and put it on a lanyard for me, and I looked at that badge of the crow. And it was an immediate spiritual connection. So for me, the point of entry into the furry fandom was actually the spiritual connection angle. And that's why I'd really like to do a panel about spirituality and furry fandom. Because I think for if it's true for me, it's probably true for other people, there is that spiritual element of connection with the animal that you embody or that you feel embodies certain parts of you.
Yeah.
And that might be why you choose to wear a crow badge or whatever, right?
Well, I am the mother of cats, so
Not to be confused with Crazy Cat Lady.
Yeah.
I can be both, but
Nothing wrong with that.
I mean, 7 cats. That's kind of unheard of, but at the same time, it's like, you know, I am one of them. They welcomed me into their lives. So, Chinona, you do a lot of LARPing, or you did.
I
don't know.
Actually, I just started LARPing again like 2 weeks ago.
For those of you who are listening to this and don't know, LARPing is live action roleplay.
Yes, live action roleplay. So what actually got my journey into the furry fandom was quite interesting because it actually started at Geo's club, which has been like shut down for like a decade now, basically. Like it's been down a long time. And they had the Cats after party for like Cats the Musical when it was on Rainbow Stage, which is our outdoor theater here in Winnipeg. And I went to that with my grandmother because I'm like, oh my God, it's Cats! I've wanted to see this since I was a child because I was a theater kid. I literally went to University for Theater and Film. I am a super nerd. I am sorry. And they had
sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. They at this event was like, hey, if you guys want to do costumes, we're going to do a costume contest. And I was like, theater and film student. I'm like, ha, 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 they shall rue the day type thing. Cause that's literally what I just graduated for. And I got myself like a morph suit and some split white ballet shoes. And I had like some fur and yarn on hand. And I literally made a Cat's bomb ballerina costume. Like I fully airbrushed the suit. So it was like the orange and the blacks and the whites. And it was all striped and it had like the big white bib. And then I made like the cat wig out of they have wool bearding that they use for theater, and I used that. And I like made like the cat head, and I hand knotted an entire yarn tail that was like 2.5 feet long, and all of this took me like 24 hours. And then I went to the thing, and they're like, oh my God, because hilariously the show wasn't wrapped yet. They had the wrap party 2 days before the show was wrapping. I don't know. There's something wrong with that. And they're like, oh, we need to get you in on like, because during the intermission, the cat actors would come and like interact with people out in the audience, and like, we need to get you in there. That never happened. But that day it was like, someone's like, oh, you're a furry. I'm like, what the hell's a furry? No, I'm not. And then like a couple months later, it was like something else. I'm like, oh, huh, maybe I am a furry. Shit.
Oh no.
And then I like made my first fursuit in 2 weeks so that I could walk in the Pride Parade, and I walked the Pride Parade in fursuit, and it was 35 degrees, and I damn
Oh
near
my
died.
god.
Oh.
I made it 3/4 of the way around the parade, which is like an hour and 45 minutes in the sunlight in a fursuit that has like a plush suit under it because it was squeaky. So I had like an extra bunch of padding on. Like I was like huge and just covered in, and hour 45 and 35-degree weather, and I was still standing. Was pretty impressive. But yeah, so that was my journey there, and it was actually a LARPing thing where I dressed up like a snow leopard. I made a tail, and I had like clip-in ears that I made, and I painted my face so that it looked like a snow leopard. And I went LARPing, and someone was like, "Oh, you're a furry." I'm like, "What's a furry?" They're like, "Oh no." I'm like, "It's okay. I'll go Google it when I get home." And they honestly panicked because at this time it was like 2012, so that's like not that far off from CSI. And when you Google, let me tell you, that's one of the first things you used to find was that episode. And I'm like, it's okay. I'll go Google it. And I think the person just about died.
Oh.
I mean, fortunately, I found Fur Affinity instead, which I'm not sure if that's better or worse. I made the mistake of turning off the adult content filter the minute I got in there. That was a mistake. But yeah, so that's how I came through it. Was like I did that. So I actually started LARPing and doing stuff like that, and now I get asked to do costume builds for LARPing because oh, well, we need a fun costume, or we need this, or we need that. So now it's like, oh, okay, sure. That's like a 10.
Your
workmanship and the thing is
incredible.
Yes, it is. Well, when you see the British DJs on the Saturday of the Wild Prairie FurCon virtual event, hopefully I actually did persona badges for them. So hopefully they'll be wearing those. And so in a sense, badges have been my point of entry all the way along. How about you, Willow?
What? I dress up as the Cat in the Hat, so clearly I'm obviously a furry. It started off with me doing charity work through meeting people through C4, and got into joining a costuming group and doing charity work through them. And I went to a soccer meetup at a hall several years ago, dressed up as the Cat in the Hat, and just kids loved it. I went to the first time I dressed up as the Cat in the Hat officially was for the 100-year celebration of my brain just fried. Universal had a celebration here in Winnipeg several years ago, almost 10 years ago now. Yeah. So yeah, I dressed up as the Cat in the Hat for them, met so many people, and I was dancing on one side of the room. A guy from the other side of the room came up to me and goes, "I need to take a picture of you for my kids." And so I was told that I did a way better job as being the Cat in the Hat than Mike Myers did. So that was just like, oh, that's so sweet. So yeah, I think that was like the official, I'm a furry. Me dressing up as the Cat in the Hat. I still do. Well, I want to update the outfit so bad though. Cat, Janona, we're talking.
Okay.
Well, I mean, that's just it. I mean, the thing is, the furry thing can be a rabbit hole, right? You start at one point, and there's just a lot of different layers to it. I'm always surprised at the things I learn at these conventions and looking at online articles and virtual stuff, because people are doing so many amazing things.
Yeah.
I feel like it's less of a rabbit hole and more of a whole damn burrow of like a colony of bunnies.
That's true, with all the little passages and the side bits. And
I saw the furry conga line and I just had to follow them.
There's no stopping it.
yeah, I mean, well, when did I finally decide, hey, maybe I'm a furry? It was like a week and a half ago.
A week and a half ago, and I was like, yeah, I hate to inform you of this, but you were a furry for sure last year, day one of the con.
Sorry.
Well, the thing is, for those who don't know, on my Facebook about a week and a half ago, I posted a little thing going, am I a furry? And then Chinona and Willow were like, yes, you are. I'm like, well, okay, I guess I am.
Like, I don't want to appropriate the title if I'm not a furry. It's like,
guess what?
My exact words.
One of us.
Furry.
One of us. Yes, we are furry aboard.
Maybe one of us.
As I said, we are furry aboard. You shall be assimilated. Canadian furry aboard. Do not resist it with your light.
Sorry. Sorry for being a furry.
Well, I'm really glad to be part of this community because they're so generous with their charity work. They're so kind to each other. They're so kind to newcomers. It's just a wonderful group. I consider it my family after, if this is only the third year, as much as I consider KeyCon my family after 38 years. That's something.
Wow.
Yeah, it definitely is a great community. I mean, like going back again to that whole heat exhaustion thing. I mean, we do warn people about heat exhaustion while Prairie has some
we have signs everywhere and we're watching for you, idiots.
They actually have the little sign of the little man where one side is orange, one side is red that you can get from a public health office, but they made someone edited it into a fursuit, and it is actually friggin' awesome. And they got these long straws, but I mean, things like that are still going to happen. People are still going to get hurt, falling down the stairs in their fursuit, spilling hot tea on them because Monstro's got big paws, and the community is super great. I mean, look at our, we've got an actual medic who's a trained medic that we have for our medical staff. We've got a couple of military dudes on security. We all look after each other, and we actually, Chinona did a really good job assigning roles to people based on their qualifications and such. Like, you wouldn't want someone, who has no idea what to do in a hostile situation to be working security, right? You're not going to have some little 15-year-old kid who's fresh out of whatever school they're from doing security. Maybe you might have them greeting, and we look after each other. And that's one of the biggest things that I love about this community. I'm getting medically discharged from the military. I've had an outcry of support from this community, other provinces, heck, other countries, of people that are like, man, that really sucks. People that message me and go, hey, I'm sorry this is going on, but, I know a friend who knows a friend that can help you with this, and this, and it's great. Chinona, for example, I flew to Resolute Bay. So for those that don't know where Resolute Bay is, think one of the highest points in Canada, above the 60th parallel, where the polar bears are. They just recently got a cell phone tower installed last summer. That's, this is way up north in Nunavut. I was having some anxiety about flying because when you fly that far up, you always run the risk of getting into a plane crash. So I was very, very nervous. And we were even told, pack survival gear and bring it with you, because if we go down, you're going to have to survive. So I was nervous. Chinona was on the phone for me for about an hour. And we talked sporadically throughout the whole thing because I was just panicking. And I mean, that kind of support right there. It's just a furry, a friend. We're obviously really good friends, but it's a furry.
And what he's not telling you is I'm actually terrified of talking on phones.
And exactly.
Wow.
And she extended that courtesy to me because she saw someone that she cares about, suffering. And I mean,
Mom friend override.
Yeah, and it's great. Mama Snap overrides. And that's the joke. She wears snow leopards, and I'm Snep son, she's Snep mom, and it's kind of stuck, right? So whenever I see her, I go, Mama Snep, what's going on? And it's funny because you also call each other by your furry names. I mean, people on base call me Toasty. You go to Starbucks with your furry friend, and they're like, "Yeah, hey, latte for Peter," and your buddy stands up, and you're like, "Darkpaw, wait." Oh, yeah, I got that on Facebook. You don't know people's real names. Like, I do know a lot of people's real names, but I prefer their furry name because they're so comfortable with their furry self that, yeah, there's no, "Hey, Justin." That's my real name, by the way.
Well,
Hey, Hey, Toasty.
One thing I do appreciate about Wild Prairie FurCon, at least last year, was that on the name tags, you had the option of different ways to show your names. You could show your real name in larger text and your furry name in smaller text, or reversed, or just one or just the other. Exactly.
And then on the other side, I have my security badge.
Aww.
Yep, exactly. So basically, they give you the option to be yourself as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which the one thing I would like to suggest for next year is what KeyCon just started doing, which is the pronouns option on the badges.
We were not looking at doing that. We were actually looking at getting buttons that people could put on instead of on the badges. That way, if the non-binary people, if they wanted to change,
they can switch. They can switch. That's a really good idea. That's a really smart idea. That's smart.
Yeah.
And that would work really, really well.
It functions. Not really.
No, that's a really smart idea.
Smart.
That's another thing I'd like to point out about the furry community, at least as I've experienced it through Wild Prairie FurCon, for those who have never been or don't know anything about it, is there's so much LGBTQA plus positivity. Yep. There are all kinds of LGBTQA plus stuff in the dealer's room that you can buy. Yep, exactly. You got the paw symbols, you got like the rainbow lanyards, you got buttons basically for your pronouns and stuff like that. So basically they're really, really, really supportive of how people choose to express themselves. And there's no judgment.
That's what I enjoy about the Manitoba fandom as a whole. Like, we all have different interests, but the fact that
there you go.
Going to KeyCon and being a family there, going to the furry conventions, being a family there. All these smaller conventions to me mean a lot more than the bigger conventions because it's like going to a family reunion every year.
Well, I mean, you may remember, Willow, that the year I was fan guest of honor at KeyCon, which was KeyCon 34, was the year I came out as non-binary. As they now. And so much support from the community.
Yeah.
And again, at Wild Prairie FurCon, so much support there too.
And
people are very aware of pronouns and are very careful to use what people identify as.
And I'm getting better. Just gotta.
Sometimes it's hard to remember.
Yeah, I'll slip up once in a while. But.
When I'm in doubt, I just call people Captain. Captain nobody can go wrong with Captain. Hey, Captain. The Captain over there would like a drink.
One thing, if I can touch on real quick too, when we're talking about like how accepting we are and making sure people are comfortable and stuff. And one of the biggest thing that I'm actually surprised we didn't mention it earlier is consent. Now, hold up. Ooh. So people are probably thinking consent. Okay, now you guys are definitely sexual. Now, hold up. Consent doesn't always mean it's sexual. Kind of like when you ask someone if they want tea. They say no. No means no. So one of these things here. So like I have a back injury. And the one thing that people are very bad for is running up to fursuiters and hugging them. And one of the biggest
clomping them.
Consent. Yeah. We have a very, very strict zero tolerance. I mean, with me running security, there's always, there's strikes. I'm not going to start yelling at some little kid because they ran up. They don't know any better. But for the adults and stuff, it's nice to see that we have people that make badges like this for people with disabilities or some kind of issue where they can't.
Or anxiety.
Yeah, like someone jumped on me once at a furry meet, and I was in fursuit because I was showing off my full suit, and buddy just kind of jumped onto me, and my buddy Zeno, who's actually local to me here, he actually got very mad at him. And the Zeno knows my injury, and it could be something that could potentially harm me very, very badly. And he yanked him off and said, "Listen, man, you can't do that. That's not appropriate." And they apologized. Everything's good to go. They didn't know. And so I had that badge made because, again, consent is huge. You want to hug someone, please ask. Unless it says on them, please hug. You still want to get their attention.
Yeah.
And it goes the same thing with people without a suit. Like, if I don't know Kat, if I don't know Chinona, and I want to walk up to her and go, give her a hug because I think she's really nice, I'm not just going to run up and hug her. Hey, can I give you a hug? Because maybe she doesn't want a hug. Right.
Yeah.
And there's in the Wild Prairie Furcon dealers room, there was at least, I know Onyx Angel last year was selling metal tags that said basically hug in green or ask hug in yellow and then no hug in red. And there was also a similar badge for booping people. And for those who don't know, booping is when you beep somebody on the nose. And so there was a yes beep, like ask to beep, and a no beep.
Yeah.
So if you have a resin,
consent
resin face mask, you're screwed. It smashes into your face, or you're wearing glasses, you're screwed. So
yeah, exactly. So you want to be very clear, right?
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of people in the furry community, in my experience, too, are really, really conscious of consent, and very careful to respect other people in that regard.
And
so
and it helps to have like a really good handler too. I know
if you're in a full fursuit.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, a handler is somebody who, if somebody is in a full fursuit and maybe has like reduced visibility and stuff, the handler is a person who is not in a fursuit or only in a partial fursuit who will kind of keep an eye on them and make sure they're safe and that kind of thing.
I know a couple times going out to some fur meets, I was a handler for those who were in full suit. The bowling, fursuit bowling, that I still remember that. Although, I still feel like bowling shoes are so slippery. I'm surprised I don't go down the lane. But I definitely would love to do that again. But that's it. But, trying to guide some of the fursuiters to throw the ball straight in fursuit, like telling them, okay, turn this, turn that, that was a challenge, but I'm willing to work at it again, where it's like if I'm not in fursuit, I like being a handler. I think it's fun. Although I'm at times I'm kind of bad at saying stare. But you learn that when you're working with people. So
well, it's a skill set, right? To learn what to watch for, to learn what to be careful of.
Yeah.
And also, to be sure that the person this is just talking to other people who do handling, to be sure that the person you're handling is getting enough hydration and stuff.
It's actually, that's something I learned. It was actually the first bit of sign language that I did learn as a fursuiter was water, which is you do your W, water.
Yep.
That way you don't have to speak if you are non-speaking furry. You just tap, and that means get me water. And it's actually something that I've tried to teach every single handler I've had. I'm one of the few fursuiters that does not regularly have a handler because my suits, as I'm sure Willow has noticed, have amazing vision. Like, you can see in those things. And,
I'm going to be a klezmer no matter what, even if I can see. And is made to take abuse. So I have gone out and done things like several years ago, they had movie nights at Assiniboine Park, which is a local park, and they put movies up on the big screen that are free. You come sit and watch, and there's like a screening at, I think it's like 8 o'clock and 1 at 8 o'clock, something like that. And I went in a full fursuit by myself to a park full of kids, and they were
climbing on me, and I was there by myself, but I was okay because I'm like, I made it so that I could be aware enough of where I was by, like, literally you train yourself in these suits to do these things, to be able to move and be safe all by myself without a handler.
Yeah. And I just enjoy doing all the things that you guys do. Like, I missed out on the paint night that you were hosting several years ago, or well, 2 years ago. Sorry, when the first
we had one last year too. We did.
Oh, I missed that one.
We had 2 of them last year, in fact. We had,
I'm definitely gonna have to come out for the next one. Or we're gonna have to plan one online.
Our paint nights are like when we've been doing them, they've actually been fundraisers for Wild Prairie Fur Con for us to afford more basically ambiance stuff. You know, the decorations and wonderful things like that we can get. And we charge like $25, and you get a canvas, and you can paint, and you get to take your canvas home. I mean, you don't get to keep the paintbrushes, but you know, and it's a nice little, like, I have this size right now, and it's actually the size bigger than this that everyone paints on. This is the oh bugger, the 6x8. Yeah, the 6x8, and we do the 8x10 normally.
Okay.
So bigger. And you get one of those for free, and you get to paint on it, and we supply all the paint, and we have snacks. Normally they are like, we actually do 2 sittings, one earlier in the day that doesn't have any alcohol involved for those that do not imbibe, or, you know, have issues where they're recovering from alcoholism and they don't want to be around drink at all. We have the early seating for them, and then we have the late seating for everyone that wants to bring their own booze. Because we do not provide anything like that, but you know, we do let people, like, oh well, I'm going to come and I'm going to bring, like, you know, a couple beers to drink. Cool, do it.
Yeah. One thing I did want to offer as a fundraiser, either for Wild Prairie Fur Con or for Craig Street Cats, this year is probably not a good year, but maybe next year, is what I was offering for KeyCon, which was divination card readings, either at the convention or virtually. Because I do a lot of virtual tarot card readings for the Cat Cafe on Henderson as fundraisers, so I'm very comfortable doing that.
Okay, yeah, we may see about doing that. I mean, even if it's a fundraiser for Wild Prairie Fur Con or for Craig Street Cats, depends on how this is all going.
I mean, to give you an example of the kind of money that can raise, the Cat Cafe, we got 4 readers together on an afternoon, and we raised almost $600 for the cafe.
Very nice.
So if you spread the word far enough, you can make quite a bit of money. And I think, and if Craig Street Cats is open to that kind of fundraiser, that'd be great.
I don't see why they wouldn't be, but I will definitely reach out and ask.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah. I mean, you know, it's like, how many items are in the auction for the weekend coming up?
Right now we have...
Well, you have the 3 badges.
We have the 3 badges. We have a spice rack and, like, a bulk barn gift card. We have a dark bunny sauce gift card, which
what is dark bunny sauce?
They are hot sauces.
Dark bunny.
Oh,
created by Phil.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Oh, he's gonna bring some.
I shouldn't be so excited. I have acid reflux, but I love hot sauce.
The thing is, he does
bad combo.
He does more than hot sauce. Like, he has it's a Snep one, and of course I'd know which one the Snep flavor is, wouldn't I? And it's a chocolate cherry sundae sauce.
Oh my god!
Nice. So you got that. So you got that. Here he comes.
He's showing. Come on, show off. Show off, you bugger.
So these are dark bunny sauces. This one here is Howler. So what they do is they have, like, different animals on them and whatnot. And this one here is garlic habanero, because I love garlic, so it's very mild. And then you can get other things like leftover ingredients. So this here says it's Bunny's Pantry. Whoops. So Bunny's Cupboard. And essentially what they do, so I'll read it. This is what happens when there's odds and ends left over from making all the sauces for a convention and some empty bottles and creativity strikes. This is a unique, one-of-a-kind sauce. No recipe, just a bunch of things like peppers, more peppers, tomatoes, onion, garlic, and spices. Don't expect it to make sense. We don't understand it either. Now, these guys here, I got 2 of them. I can't consume them. They're way too spicy for me. But the garlic habanero, I mean, it is so nice. And the person who runs it is amazing. They have a point
So basically,
system.
so we got some of those in the auction, which is excellent.
Oh, yeah. And then
That'll be
ran away.
cool.
I mean, if
That's-
worst
she-
case
she's
scenario,
prob-
I have stuff that I can donate to the auction too if we need to fill out some
I can
stuff.
donate some of my fursuit sprays that I just had made by North Pole Creations out in British Columbia.
Somebody let you know when she comes back.
Yeah, I should actually. let
Here
her
she
know.
comes.
Oh,
She's
here
coming
comes
with
Shimona her big
sauces.
bottles of hot sauce, like
Sauce. Oh
bottles of sauces.
Oh my goodness.
more money. Take that.
Actually, I got mine. This is like the big bottle size. Like he sells multiple sizes of bottles. This is like the one he sells like the most of this size. This is
Mhm.
heffalump, and it's like a spicy curry. And oh my god, yes.
Curry.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
it's super spicy. But I actually have this is actually the same flavor. This is called this one is Weeping Werecat, and I actually have another whole bottle of it, and I might put the whole bottle I have up with the dark bunny sauce just because I love this one. It's a red onion sauce. It's based on like sauteed red onions, and it does have some spice, but it's not insane. The Weeping one. And then I also have the Wailing Werecat version.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
The difference between weeping and wailing tells me it's a little more intense.
Yeah, that's exactly what they do with the naming convention is they put these different things like, and you know what the spice is depending on like what is one
The
of the
adjective.
like,
Here, you can also see like it has like that little red mark on there. It's actually a
yes.
paper on fire, where this one has like just it says 7 out of 10. This is a 7. This is a 10.
And
Wow.
he updates his page quite regularly. Like he updates, he has a Telegram channel. He's got his Twitter. Updates it a lot. There's deals. Hey guys, we've got all these ingredients left over. Check us out. And I actually emailed him, I messaged him directly through Twitter. Super, super nice, very friendly. Sometimes you have bad experiences because a lot of artists, they don't want to be bothered, right? But he was super quick to answer any questions. Actually, he had reached out to me because I wanted 2 of the garlic habaneros, but he only had 1. So he said, hey, would you mind if I give you this instead? And I'm like, yeah, man, let's do it. So very, very good. And the point system is awesome too. You get free points for your birthday and whatnot. It's pretty awesome.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool. So we got some of that coming up.
And we are
That's
also
going to be.
Yeah, this is going to be. We're having it's only a small gift card that we have right now, but paired with like one of these, this is like a $40 jar of hot sauce.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a
And the thing is, yeah, you know what I mean. And all the proceeds are going to the kiddies. So
all of that is going to the kiddies. We're also looking at possibly doing an auction of a 2021, a membership. Either probably a silver membership, which gets you, your T-shirt and like your little extras. It's not quite as crazy as the gold level, which I don't think Toasty's ever not been a gold level person. He loves his gold stuff.
But for those again who are not aware, you can join Wild Prairie FurCon at different levels, from the basic, which just gets you your weekend entrance to the convention, right up to I believe it's bronze, silver, and gold, which are different financial levels of support for the convention. And you get different perks.
Mm-hmm. And bronze comes with like the con T-shirt, silver comes with the con T-shirt, and free ticket to our guest of honor
Guest dinner.
Because we do have that, and that's like a $35 value minimum type deal.
And Gold has had an amazing perk last year. That backpack thing was so cool.
I know, I love that. I actually did all the screen printing on those backpacks myself.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow!
And they were nice.
Mm-hmm. I'm like, huh, this worked. Let's do this some more. So so stuff like that. So that's a good number of different little prizes. And more can show up in that time. Like there's always a possibility. Like all I have to do is like dig through my frickin' house. I have like prizes that were supposed to be meant for like art stuff,
socials and stuff
for the socials because we hold the Wild Prairie Fur Ball as a New Year's Eve social, and we were literally getting ready to hold one when we found out that like the last one we were going to hold ended up being canceled because our venue was going under construction and would not be ready for New Year's. So that was the end of the fur ball. But so I have like stuff like that, like squirreled away. So
I mean, if you need more stuff, I can donate.
You know what? Feel free to donate. We love it. And really everything this year, auction wise, is really going to help, the charity or the not-for-profit, because it is a hard year with COVID that, a lot of have, more issues because it's just going to be harder to do the fundraising because you can't, have get-togethers. You can't do a lot of the things like the last 2 years of the FurCon. In total, we've raised $3,000 in 2 years, roughly.
Yeah,
that's pretty impressive for a first and second year con to raise that amount of money. Like, this year, like if we were going to be having the con, our goal was $3,000 because we now have the ability to do a 50-50 draw daily, which, let's face it, 50-50s are very popular.
Yes,
especially especially in Manitoba. Like I don't know why. Well, I mean, I do know why we like to spend money at fundraisers. Manitoba seems to be like one of the most generous provinces for fundraisers. So I've been told, but at the same time, we're cheap.
Oh, Winnipeg is notoriously cheap. I mean, as an artist, Winnipeg is cheap.
Winnipeg is a commercial. It's actually one of the test cities in North America. If it can make it in Winnipeg or Chicago, and Winnipeg
or New York,
or
New York, it's like if it can make it there, it can make it anywhere.
Yeah.
New York isn't even considered a test city anymore. You don't like.
It used to be. It used to be one of the big ones.
Yeah, it isn't anymore because now people just like, oh, this is a cool idea, and they buy everything. Yeah, Winnipeg is like, no, this is too expensive. We want it cheaper.
So what exactly is coming up this weekend? Not obviously like tomorrow weekend, but the weekend after, 7th to 9th of August, the Wild Prairie FurCon.
Okay, so the Wild Prairie FurCon online convention, www. Oh God, I can't even do it.
It's 3 W's and then PFCON. Well, WW Wild Prairie FurCon letters,
whatever.
Yeah.
Worldwide Wild Prairie FurCon. There we go. That is actually starting Friday evening. We are not doing Friday all day just because it's going to be a smaller event. And we have opening ceremony starting at 8:00. That way I can get home from working because I have to go to work on Fridays. And
for those who are watching from not in Manitoba, that is 8 p.m. CDT. Winnipeg time, right?
I don't believe it. Is it CDT? I don't think we have daylight savings on right now. I think daylight savings.
Okay, so in that case, it's CMT or CST. CST, Central Standard Time.
Yeah. So 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, we are going to be doing the opening ceremonies, and I'm going to have to decorate behind me because it's going to be here with me. La, 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 la.
It's so it's currently 8:29 CDT, Charlie Delta Tango.
So we still are on daylight time.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Kitty!
This is
Kitty!
Whatever.
My favorite cat
And then
down
after
there.
that, we actually have the Randy Rainbow sing-along is I think the next thing. We have a good amount of events coming up. We have scheduled all of them basically to be afternoon, just because that way people can sleep in. People don't have to get up and be like, oh my God, I have to get up and do this. No, you can relax. You can do stuff. We've tried to keep it fairly relaxed. We do have like the auctions for like Craig Street Cats are going to be going all weekend. Those are going to be posted in our Facebook group, just so that people can put bids on them throughout the weekend. And what?
I feel like he's kissing your ass there.
Calm chair.
And then we're gonna have like the closing bids for that is gonna be I believe I have it scheduled for 6 p.m. like on Sunday.
On Sunday. Okay.
Sunday. So and we have the dance on Saturday, 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. We have gaming, and we have an art stream that I know is going on, like just off the top of my head. We also have Aria's furry fandom viewing, which is on Sunday. We're going to find when we can put in the spirituality panel for her.
Just let me know whenever. Yeah. Toasty, I noticed you were doing this when we mentioned the disco. Have you seen these two people who run the disco yet?
I honestly don't really do dances because of my injury, but it's pretty cool. Also sweating, I just don't like sweating.
Well, these people are not just music, trust me. They are a whole entertainment package stuffed into two people.
I mean, you can go to this dance and not actually dance. You can just vibe.
You can just vibe, exactly. Oh, they have killer dance music, and I can't believe some of the stuff they did for KeyCon. Oh my God. Some of the stuff they did for KeyCon, people were screaming with laughter. It was tremendous. Yeah. So that's the dance Saturday. But yeah, so whenever you want to fit the spirituality panel in, just let me know.
So, I mean, we have a fair amount of different things that are going on. We're not having any of our really big things, like we're not doing a talent show. We're not doing a dance competition. We do have the fursuit parade is going to be on a Friday night. We're going to release that video.
Okay.
That's going to actually probably be part of our opening ceremonies.
Oh,
cool.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not a very long video, so.
No, it's not. It's a nice short little video. And there was a lot of people having fun with it, so.
And who's who is there a guest of honor?
We do not have a guest of honor for this one. Aria very, very kindly donated some art that was originally going to be for like next year's. We're going to be making pins and stickers and fun things with it, but we were very happy to use it for the
because you used it for the group header and stuff like that.
Yeah. We're using it for that simply because it's a really good one, because with COVID we're all in this together and it's all your paws in the center. So we really liked it, and we thought it was a highly appropriate piece of art for what we were doing. So we don't really have a guest of honor per se this time around. I don't know if hopefully we aren't going to be doing this again for a very, very long time.
I will say that Dr. Fauci was testifying before Congress today, and I trust him more than I trust a lot of other people, and he is very optimistic that we're going to have a vaccine by the end of 2020.
Mm-hmm. So hopefully he's right, because I'm and we do have a lot of vaccines in the process. So there is a good chance that we will definitely be having an in-person con again in 2021. We are fortunately later in the year, so it's easier for us to like hold off again until, you know, the midway point of the year before we have to like
make a decision.
But yeah, no, like the online con is going to be a lot of fun, and hopefully it'll, you know, be a little bit of a relaxation for the people that are definitely missing their fur cons this year. There's a lot of people that are up for that. We are also having like a dealer's den that is going to be open all 3 days. All of our dealers from like this year that was canceled that have been moved on to 2021 are, you know, have slots available. They can, you know, peddle their wares in the Facebook group and anywhere else. We're giving them full permission to do full sales and stuff like that, where we're going to be limiting other people to, no, you can't sell right now. This is their time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
It sounds like there's a lot happening, which is great.
Yeah.
So,
you know, especially for first virtual con for a smaller convention, this is going to be amazing. I am so looking forward to next weekend.
And I'll try to get some of my friends out and see what we can do for filling in some slots in between. So, all right. So we're at the hour 34-minute mark. Furry art. What's the best furry art you guys have acquired or made?
Onyx Angel. I'm really looking forward to you guys seeing the Fursona badges I made for Nikki Price and Justin Price, who are the 2 British DJs, because they were kind of, I think they're like the second and third furry badges I've ever done, and I'm really, really proud of them. So
I know what they look like because I kind of helped with one of them.
Yes, you did. You helped with Pricey Pigeon. Pricey Pigeon. Yes, and you're
coming, and I think they're awesome.
Yep, your sketch for Pricey Pigeon really crystallized it for me. So thank you so much for that. It looks great. It looks great.
One of my favorite pieces, I actually don't commission art very often. It takes a lot to get me to commission art. And Say Uncle, like years ago, had a special on for sketches. And like you can't get art from him now for less than like $100 US.
Yeah.
Like does not exist. And I got a $20 full body sketch of Chinona from him.
Wow.
Oh, brilliant.
And it is my favorite piece, and like I don't even know how to show you guys it. It's awesome. I know Toasty actually found it, and it's one of his favorited pieces, and he favorited it before he knew who I was, because it's one of those snow leopard ones that's really awesome. And he's like, oh yeah, no, I found it and I favorited it. That's you, huh? I'm not a stalker, I swear. But that one is my absolute favorite, and it was like $20 US, and like he sent me a file big enough that if I wanted to, I could print it out at 19 by 24 inches and have it as a poster. And I really should do that at some point because I love it that much.
Yeah. Can I change my answer real quick?
Just go right ahead.
First, my favorite piece of art. It's kind of furry. Does everyone here know who William Stout is, the dinosaur artist? He's one of the biggest dinosaur artists on the planet. And George and I were guests at C2E2, the Calgary Comic and Entertainment Expo, and we were helping to set up the booth that was hosting us. And I'm looking through the program book, and I suddenly see that William Stout has a dealer's booth. So I shoved the program book at my husband. I said, gotta go. Left him to finish setting up and ran all the way across the convention floor to William Stout's booth. He had just finished setting up. And I fangirled him so hard. I said, gee, Mr. Stout, the very first book I bought with my own money was a first edition copy of your book, Dinosaurs. And today, pulled out my money, I would like to buy a copy of your new book. So he took a copy of his new book, took my money, opened the front page, pulled out a pen and said, what's your favorite dinosaur? And I said, Utahraptor! So he drew in like 2 minutes a pen sketch inside the cover of the book. I later found out it was the equivalent of a $200 convention sketch from him.
Oh, wow.
And he passed me the book. And I said, gee, this is so awesome. But the funny part was yet to come, because I looked at the sketch and I said, this is so awesome. When my husband, George Freeman, sees this, he's going to... And up to this point, William Stout had been, polite the way you are, right? But his ears perked up and his eyes lit up and he said, George Freeman's here. I wish I'd known. I would have bought all my Captain Canuck comics for him to sign. So William Stout made me promise. William Stout made me promise right there and then that at the end of the convention day, when all the fans were cleared out of the dealer's room, I would drag George over to meet him. And when I did, William Stout said, gee, Mr. Freeman, I love Captain Canuck. So it was the it was the fanish circle of life. I fangirled him, he fangirled my husband, it was great. But that's my favorite sketch. It is an animal sketch, so it was my favorite all-time sketch.
It counts.
Yeah.
Pardon? It counts, yeah. No, just like, wow. So yeah, how about you, Toasty?
Like my favorite artwork kind of thing. I mean, I was gifted a piece of artwork from a local named Dronin. He hosted a meet.
Yep.
And one of my favorite snow leopards, person that makes snow leopards, and I, before I became an official furry and considered myself a furry, was Tanny DeReal. And I actually came across Tanny DeReal's artwork while on the military base. I started liking snow leopards, and I saw this really cool background of a snow leopard with a bunch of baby snow leopards hanging off their mama, and there's an opossum or something right next to it, kind of going, haha, like I taught your kids how to hang off of you, because you know how opossums are. And so I'd always wanted a Tanny DeReal art, but it's really hard to commission Tanny, so he gave it to me. And I gotta say, one of my favorite pieces by a local artist, though, is I actually have another Sona named Delilah, who's a shepherd husky, and Chinona actually did a full body sketch and a half body sketch of Delilah. I wish I could show you, but unfortunately I don't have the file on me. But you did an amazing job. Like, you really brought out Delilah. It was a character that I bought from a friend who was going through some financial issues, so she's just kind of a character that I have. And I was like, yeah, hey, I need some artwork and a ref sheet and this and that. And Chinona did some awesome artwork. But I mean, I've got a lot of art. Like, if I were to take off all the artwork that I have of Toasty, all of my Sonas, like I got Bunzai the Bunny, I've got Delilah, I've got Roxy, I've got a whole bunch of things. I've probably got like close to 5 gigs worth of artwork, and that's including the physical stuff that I've purchased. Like we had an artist, Dark Paw Studios, and Fursuit Crush. We all got those fursuit crushes. There's always that one fursuit that you absolutely adore because it's super cute. I mean, she's a corgi, and her as a person, she's amazing. She's a really nice person. And I actually have a scroll of her Sona sitting in a throne with a, she's got, she looks really evil, and she's kind of sitting there with a crown on her ear, and it's just like, oh my god, it's my fursuit crush sitting on a throne. This is really cool. Like, she looks like a queen. I love it. Let's get it. And, so I fangirled over it, ran over with my hard-earned money, and said, just give it to me. So,
take my money!
But yeah. There's quite a bit, but I mean, one of the other cool things that I really like, you've probably seen my little plushie that Chinona made.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I see you not paying attention down there.
I made that.
Sweet.
Oh, wait for it.
Oh, sweet.
I don't know if you can hear that or not, but yeah.
I can hear it.
Used to ride in my truck with me, but it started getting a little faded, so I brought him inside. And
so cute.
There's actually a story behind those, and I may cry.
If you want to share it, go right ahead. You don't have to, but
when I was 3 years old, I got a little toy very similar to that, and I called it Squeaky. And he was bright pink, and he was going in the garbage because he was actually my best friend's toy, and his squeaker broke, so she was just gonna throw him out. And I adored this toy, like absolutely adored it. So I rescued him from the garbage can, brought him home, and he was with me up until literally a week before the 2018 FurCon, and he went missing. He's gone.
Oh.
Yeah. So I had this toy for 30 years at that point. And now he's no longer with us. I don't know where he went. Unfortunately, at that time, I was really sick. I was on oxycodone, so I have no memory of what happened to him. He's not in the house. He's nowhere to be found. And that was actually my reaction to losing him. Was that because he was one of those things, like, he's actually what my first fursuit was based off of. Squeaky is Squeaky. Yeah. So if you've ever seen that bright pink Tasmanian devil, that is the fursona version of him.
Oh, like gentle hugs. Yeah. Gentle hugs.
And he is one of those things, like, he is everything that is good in the world type thing. Like, he doesn't, like, in my head, he didn't understand hate. He just loved everyone. Apparently he didn't like a few people because he thought they were rude. But he was one of those toys that was real. If you've ever read The Velveteen Rabbit.
Yep. How do you become real?
He was a real toy. He was loved to death. He had no, like, his pink fur was like a dusty pink by the end. He was really beat up. So I created the descendants of Squeaky to go out into the world and help people be the good guy.
Yeah, so, I definitely want to buy one from you in honor of Squeaky.
Yeah. So and they come, like, the only color combination I refuse to do is I will not do an original Squeaky combination.
No.
Which is pink, white, and main body is pink with a white belly, and then blue feet and inner ears. But that's the only color combo I will not do.
Mine's name's Avocado. It's Avocado.
This fandom has such tremendous heart.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, like, the fact that we can recreate something that means so much to someone. I mean, Meowlin, I love Maine Coons. I have, speak of the devil, he starts walking near me. My cat Mittens, he's a Maine Coon, and he's this fluffy thing that meows constantly. But I just love the personality of Maine Coons because out of the blue, Mittens will be lying on the floor, and just out of the blue, he'll wake up, spin around, run upstairs, meow a couple times, run downstairs, and I call it his squirreliness. He just he'll just wide-eyed and look around, and he'll just shoot off into nowhere. And so I'm just like, I watch him, I'm just like, what is going on with you? But I don't know, the personality of a Maine Coon just draws me in all the time. And I want to thank you so much, Chinona, for creating Meowlin. I love her so much. She's my furry, my beautiful furry Maine Coon. And I know a lot of blood, literally blood, sweat, and tears went into making her. And I have to say this because you've had a lot of flack from how long it took you to make her.
Oh, yeah.
And as far as I'm concerned, I'm happy. As far as I'm concerned, nobody has the right to tell you you took too long, because I have her.
I have the right to say it. I honestly, like, and I know why I took as long as I did on that. And
you had health issues.
I really did have health issues. And between the health issues and then trying to also freaking run the con. Like, I was running the con mid-health crisis. Like, the first con was, I should not have been running it. There's no way I should have. And I did all of, like, the contract negotiations and, you know, running around and doing stuff. And there was no way I should have been, like, I should not have been doing any of that. I'm honestly, none of those contracts were legally binding.
Chinona doesn't need a hammer because she nailed it.
Well, I mean, but that's just it. I mean, in this fandom, there seems to be so much giving, right? The crafters, the fursuit makers, the artists, they give their talents. And yes, they're often financially reimbursed for them, but there is a part of what they give that can't be financially codified, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's the magic of their creativity. And I see that go in this fandom just going around and around and around. You know,
Yeah.
people just giving and giving and giving. And that's such a tremendous generosity.
But the amount of work that you put into it, like you hand stitched like the stripes. Like I wanted a tabby, and the fact that you hand stitched several of the stripes, and like every
single stripe was actually, there is only like 3 seams on your entire suit that are not hand stitched because there's no straight lines. They don't exist. They're like everywhere.
But it's just knowing that you put so much work into my fursuit, and you put so much care into what you do for others, and you know what, you need to be rewarded. I love you very much, and I can't wait to hang out with you again. But just. Shinona, you are very much loved and so much appreciated in this fandom.
Yep.
So thank you so much for what you do and what you are doing for the furry community as a whole. One day we'll go out, have beers, and.
Well, we're not going to have beers. I don't drink beer, so that's not happening.
Yeah, but one day we will gather again at the Radisson or some other hotel, and we will come up to each and we'll come up to each other and go, "May I have a hug? Would you like a fist bump?" You know,
maybe depends on
maybe
COVID.
Depends on COVID.
6 feet away.
Yeah,
just wait.
Mm-hmm. Live long and prosper, man.
Same thing with you, Toasty. The amount of work that you do for the military and for your the charity works that you do. Oh, God, you know what? Just hearing your stories. I need to have you on my show again.
Yeah, well, 100%. You tried, Shinona.
I tried.
It's nice to have some recognition. It really is. I mean, you know. It's great. I didn't really. My original plan for coming into the furry community wasn't for fame or getting to be known, and it still isn't what I want. I mean, it's nice that comes with it, that I get known and everything. But like, I didn't want to come into this community and be, you know, overshine everyone else, because we have a lot of talented people in our community. Everyone that meets me is always saying, "Oh, you're so positive, you're so nice." I personally don't see it, because look at my line of work in the military. I don't see myself like that, you know? So to hear that from people, and to hear people giving that extra recognition and saying thanks, it's just so nice. And I mean, you look at between you and Shinona when you're talking about your suit, you got emotional. I felt the exact same way when I got my first fursuit, because it was, there we go. The favorite suck up. At the end of the first Wild Prairie FurCon, I actually went up to Shinona and made her cry as well. It's really easy to make Shinona cry. I love it. But I went up and I essentially said, "Thank you for putting this together," because, you know, like, I didn't get that kind of escape in the military. I can't just, it's really hard for me to turn off soldier mode. I mean, really, really hard. Like, I've been told by people before, you know, sometimes I'm a little too army. And I get that, but getting into this fur community, and I'm part of the con staff, like, that was really quick. Shinona was, you know, gave me a chance to do something, and I think I did a good job. And, you know, that really helped me kind of also get it back into a civilian mindset, because, you know, being military, we think differently, and it was nice to get back into a civilian mindset, to drop the army, to not think about the fact that, oh, on Monday I got to go deal with more crap that's going on base, hopefully my unit's not on fire, you know, all that stuff. I don't worry about that. I'm Toasty. I'm at a con And now I have responsibility at a con, and it's an honor to work alongside Shinona and everyone.
Very much an honor.
It's, I work under a fur named Maruski. He's our head of security, and when it's like, hey, do you want to be assistant security? It's like, I'd love to. Like, this is a great opportunity to learn the ins and outs of a furry con and to help Shinona. And I mean, we're really good friends, and I wouldn't change anything for the world. Like, it's trying to look at you like, is that the right way? No, there you go. Change the world. You do good things. Am I doing it right? There. You do good things.
Yes, you're doing it right.
Keep it up. Wait,
wrong way. What am I doing?
It's opposite to where you think it is.
That way.
But,
that way.
It's amazing to see where we've come. Like, where Chinona's gotten us with this con, like, and the hard work. Like, it's not just her; it's all of her team. Because without her team, she'd be nowhere. And it's just great to see that a community of people with a love for the furry community just comes together and does something like this. The bonfires in her backyard. When I go to Winnipeg on a tasking for the military and I need a place to stay, I just show up at her front door. Hey, I need a place to stay. No problem. Do you want the couch? Do you want the bed? Do you want the floor? Yeah. Here's a shower. Anything you want is yours.
There's bacon in the fridge.
Yeah. I get treated like family. A couple weeks ago, I actually did make a trip to Winnipeg. Yeah. And I made a trip to Winnipeg recently. And I got together with a small group of people. We sat in the backyard, did our adult things in the backyard. And we sat around, social distanced, and I had a great night. I just called up one of our friends up and I was just like, hey, I'm coming up to Winnipeg. And she's just like, well, I'm going to let you stay here. Like, I didn't even ask. And she jumped in. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I was telling Chinona's like, come and stay with me. I'm like, I've already got a place to stay, but I'll stay at your place next time. Because,
he's like, oh, I'm coming. I'm like, okay, I'll make sure that everything's. I'm like, are you bringing anyone with you? Do I need to have 2 rooms ready for you? I'm like, I can get it all ready. I just need 5 minutes.
Yeah, but she was ready to jump to it. And again, that goes to show, and you don't have to be a military furry to get that kind of treatment. You just have to be friends with someone or part of the furry community. As long as you're not someone that's caused trouble in the past, most of us will open our doors to anyone and say, Zeno, I'm sorry, this is long-winded. Zeno, a friend of mine who's military and a furry, he just sent me an e-transfer one day. And then he called me. He goes, I need a place to stay for 2 weeks. And he paid for my mortgage for the month. Now, my mortgage is very cheap. Very cheap. But he sent me enough to cover my mortgage for the month because he needed a place to stay while his military housing was getting dealt with. And it was like, holy crap. Like, this guy's paying my whole month mortgage to sleep on the floor in this room at the time. I had no mattress. I got him a foam topper. I said, this is all I can do for you. Like, you want your money back? He's like, dude, I don't care. And he stayed here for 2 weeks. He left, and we're best friends now. Like, people confuse us as being a couple because we do everything together, but it's a bond. Not only are we bonded with the military, we're bonded with furry stuff. So we have a bond that no regular person will ever experience with that military background.
So here's a funny story. So he knows Zeno.
Just so you guys know, I'm gonna have to head out in about 3 minutes.
Okay.
So
he knows Zeno. He met Zeno, through I'm guessing through military.
Through Wild Prairie Fur Con first year.
Oh, okay. So that's where you.
He recognized the stickers on the back of my truck and saw it on base.
Nice. Okay, so that's hilarious. I met Zeno at the very first furry in Edmonton, Alberta, that I vended at in, I think it was 2014, was my first time vending at a fur con. And that's where I met him, and his girlfriend bought him a piece of art from me the first year, and he still has that piece of art hanging up in his house.
Yes,
and
he does. Yes, he does.
He's like, oh, he's flipping through showing me his art, like in the first year of Wild Prairie Fur Con. I'm like, wait, stop. He's like, what? was the not safe for work because it was a not safe for work piece. He's like, what, should I not be showing you those? I'm like, no, go back to it. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, huh, haven't seen that in a while. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I drew that. He's like, oh.
Nice.
Because he had no idea it was me that drew
world.
that.
It's a very, very small world. And I mean, actually, sorry, it wasn't Zeno that recognized my truck. It was the medic, the guy who's our medic now. He recognized my truck because he was in Shiloh, and he come up to me and he noticed my tattoo because I've got my service tattoo. And he goes, are you in the military? And then he introduced me to Zeno, but I was a little nervous. So I didn't really talk to Zeno much. And then we became best friends. Like, this guy is just like, I'd take a bullet for him. I would dive in front of a bus for him. I'd give up my life for this guy. And it's the same thing for him. He drives me to my second job. He said, are you working this weekend? Yeah, I'm working Saturday, 5:30 to 10:30. He's like, I'll come pick you up. He lent me his car.
Where's my truck?
He's got a Dodge Challenger, so a muscle car, very expensive car. I said, I'm going to Ontario. It's expensive. He goes, here's the keys to my car. And I went to Ontario for 3 weeks with his car. So
are you gonna be whisked away, are you?
Eventually. I can take a few more minutes.
Well, I mean, we'll take the few moments to, hey, tell us where we can find you all over social media, or if you have a website, plug it.
Yeah. I'm on Twitter. I guess we'll go clockwise.
Okay.
I'm on Twitter at toasty_leopard, or you can find me on Telegram at avocado snap AVOCADOSNEP. And I mean, I post everywhere. You probably see my tag on Willow's Facebook, Justin Zinger. Feel free to send me a message. If it's a bad message, you'll probably get blocked. But if it's a good message, hey, I'm always looking to talk to people. So feel free to hit me up.
I don't really have a lot of social media presences, actually. You can find me on the WW Wild Prairie Fur Con, I'm not even going to try and spell it, convention Facebook group, or you can find me on Wild Prairie Furs under Lori Smith. And send me a message, whatever, like with Toasty, if it's a nice message, we're good. If it's not, so yeah.
Oh God, now it's my turn, right?
Yep.
Okay, well, I have actually a bunch of different ways you can get a hold of me and find me. The most common one is Chinona Ice Paw, CHINONAICEPAW. That's on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. Those are all functioning. There's also, if you look up Lazy Leopard Fursuits, that's me as well. That's lazyleopard.ca is the web page. It's actually fairly newly updated, so it's not completely finished, but it's got its galleries up. So if you want to check out stuff there, like the Descendants of Squeaky or Fursuit Commissions, which I've actually got a full queue again already. Sweet baby Jesus, save me from the commissions. But you can definitely I do quotes and talk about stuff like that all the time. And if you have questions or you need help, or you want to take part in the FurCon, you can get a hold of me, Chinona CHINONA at Wild Prairie FurCon WPFCON.ca is my email address for that. And like everyone else has been saying, if you suck, I'm going to ignore you and block you.
I should also say that if you want to, you can actually reach me also at the Wild Prairie Fur, I'm pointing the wrong way, also at the Wild Prairie Fur Con email address, WPFcon.ca, except editor at WPFcon.ca.
I don't know what mine is. I have
because I am actually technically lead editor this year still. So.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's actually one thing that I know you have a lot of experience with KeyCon. And PCon likes to shuffle its members and do things differently every year. We don't do that. If you are in it, you are in it for the long haul until you like, I can't do this anymore. Please let me leave.
I do not mind.
We have your soul. It's ours now.
Well, once you bought the tail, I think.
I mean, she didn't even buy it. She got that as a volunteer perk.
I got it as a volunteer perk, yeah. So,
but yeah, so we have lots of fun.
Yep. And the August 7th to 9th weekend, people, for those of you who have never been to a Wild Prairie Fur Con and might be watching this from like the Rainbow After the Storm group or whatever, it's going to be, even virtually, it's going to be epic. Come visit us.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm so looking forward to it. And I'm going to end the show. I'm Willow Schuyler. You can find me all over Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. I think I'm pretty much everywhere on social media. So yeah, come join us next weekend with for the Wild Prairie Fur Con. I look forward to seeing you guys again. Can't wait to hang out with you guys again. Have a great night.
You too.
You too. Take care.
Me tonight.